back to my channel, and today we'll be talking about the show on Netflix called The Upshaws. I saw like a couple of weeks ago, like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and this is literally what I think about the show. The show Upshaws, I don't really, okay, how to say it's like, I don't know how to explain, like, I'll watch it to see how it ends, but it's not really a show that is like I would brag to people and tell them that I watch. But it's like if I have like a best friend or someone that I'm really, really close with, I'll be like, oh, I watch the show Upshaws. It's not really like a big thing. It's like one of those shows. Like, I can't even say guilty pleasure because I don't really find pleasure in the show. I just watched it just to watch it. Like, number one, I'd say the show is very much like based on like stereotypes in like the community as like a person of color. And the cursing, I know it says like a TV for mature audience, but it's like you can't watch 1 minute of the show without somebody cursing somebody. And it's not even and it's sometimes not even a reason why, oh, you should curse. It's more of like they're just cursing to curse, and it's just like, who wrote this script? Yeah. And then after that, you have the characters and everything. You have the little kids. So you can't really judge them because they're like little. They don't they're learning. And then you have the adult characters. You have like the dad, who personally I don't understand characters like these women characters, and we're like they take back these men that cheated on them and all that stuff, and then they drag it out on the baby mothers that they did this with. So basically what happens in the show is that these two characters are married. No, these two characters have been like together for a long time, and then apparently they went on a break. He calls it a break. It was not a break, apparently. They were still together, apparently. And then he ended up getting somebody else pregnant. And then that happened. And then after that, they got together again. They had a family. And he is like watching his kid and his other kids, because like that situation basically happened. And then like you meet the baby mama and all that stuff, and she's like his wife and all that. One thing I don't understand is the fact that she took it out on her instead of her husband, because it's like I personally believe in that if I'm taking out on both people. Like, I'm taking it out on the woman that he cheated on me with, and I'm taking it out on the man that was supposed to be loyal to me, because it's not a two-way street of like, oh, I'm gonna be mad at this person or I'm gonna be mad at this person. Like, I'm mad at both of y'all because one, you're disrespecting the relationship, and two, you should find your own man, and that goes for both people, not just one person. And I just felt like they're watching the show, she deserves so much better, because his character time and time again proves on how awful he is. Because like for some reason they like to paint the show as like, oh, he made mistakes in the past and he's trying to get better, but it's like over and over and over and over again he does these things, and it's just repetitive, and then she has to constantly forgive him and all that stuff, because he doesn't actually like improve in his behavior. Like, there's a scene where like she had money because she wanted it for like some type of school or something, and he literally goes into her bank account and steals the money, and then is like, oh, I only sold because I'm gonna pay it back. But it's like, honestly, if you had just talked to her about the situation, she would have just would have talked about it and they would have been dealt with. But for you to do that is just beyond slimy. That reminds me in the show for better or worse, he basically like she basically had like a, what do you call it, a hair shop, and she did like hair and like stuff like that, and the husband went into her bank account and wiped everything clean, and it was like, I think he wanted to buy like new clothes. It's the point is that was slimy of him to do, and it's like, if he wanted to buy new clothes, he could have just bought them for himself or whatever. He just did it to spite her, basically, because they were in an argument, because like, again, he basically cheated on her and she was upset, rightfully so, and for some reason he was in the mindset of, I cheated on her but she doesn't deserve to be mad type shit. Like, what? And she ends up like burning up his clothes and burning out his car, and all that stuff. And then there was like the whole baby mama situation where like they were trying to find out, is this the baby mama, because he already had a baby mama from the previous side of the relationship in college and stuff. And that was like Keisha's character. This is a whole different show I'm talking about, it, but it relates to that show so much in a way that I just had to bring it up. And then after that, you meet like the kid that's like his kid from like the break baby or whatever. And you basically find out that they're like ghetto twins or whatever that is. I don't know what a ghetto twin is, but apparently they're ghetto twins. And there was also like a scene where like there could have been like a ghetto triplet, and it was like, Jesus Christ. Whew, they're too much for me. Jesus Christ. Just, wow, too much. Ugh. And then basically what ends up happening is that he wants to get more involved in fatherhood or whatever, and he decides that he wants to permanently adopt his break baby child because the mother of the child has a new boyfriend and they're moving across town. But he's kind of like, he stays here for like a couple of days already, so why not make him move in with him or whatever. And then personally, for me, if that ever happened to me, the first thing I would do is that I would no longer have any ties to do with that man, because number one, you're not going to put a child on me that's not my child, that I did not create, that you chose to cheat on me with for another woman and make it my responsibility. Like, that's no, like, that's one of my number one rules being in a relationship. Like, anything that can cut down or break down a relationship for me is infidelity, number one, and lying. I can't do it. And the fact that she stuck with him throughout that is beyond me. It is beyond me. I don't know why she would do that, but she did. And she's sewing whatever she ripped. And then on top of that, she basically went to go get her hair done by her or whatever. And it's like, you didn't have to go get your hair done by her. You could have gone and got your hair done by anybody else. There's this thing called Google that you can use to type it in people, and you can search them up for other areas, ask them what the price is, and do your hair. It doesn't have to be her. But it's a TV show. They're doing it to get a rise out of you. They're doing it to get like, they're doing it to get a, the drama, the flair or whatever. And then they basically talk about why they're so mad and why she's so hostile towards her and all that stuff. And then she just breaks it down truthfully. She's just saying that she's talking to him because they have a child together and he has to provide for said child. And there's nothing wrong, and I agree with that. He does have to provide for said child because that's the child that he chose to create. He chose to go on a break with her, make said child, and now he's living with his consequences. His repercussions. And if she doesn't like that, then she should have dumped him when he did those things. But he stayed with her. They stayed together and had more kids. And now she's going to be stuck taking care of another child on top of that in the show. Because at the end of the show, what basically happens is that they decide that they want the kid to live here. And it's like, that's another thing that's also disrespectful. For the fact that they didn't even bother talking to her at the end of the show. He was like, no, I want him to stay and live here under the roof. Like, who are you, sir? You can't just be out here bringing your floppy seconds, nasty ass, raggedy side baby kids into this house. Whatever. And if I know the shows and how I've seen the writing of it and the predictability of it, they're going to have an argument for a little bit, and he's going to end up saying, and they're going to have like a good relationship or whatever. But another thing is that the side baby kid is also very rude to her for no reason. It's like, she's not your mother. Oh, she's gonna do it. And she was nice enough to let you bring you under this roof. Because again, Because again, that's not his mother. That's a side baby. And she should have just kicked them all out, left, and lived her life by herself and give them all the kids. Because just every time I think about that show, it just gives me a headache. Like, this show is the epitome of shit that I would not put up with in a relationship and that I would not let slide. Like I said, cheating, infidelity, side baby, outside baby. No, I can't do that. Sorry, whenever I think about that show, it boils my blood because there's so much shit that I would not put up with. And then after that, there's like another scene where he's like being like I don't know actually. It's like, you know, basically like them trying to portray him as a good guy, but in reality he's not. Basically his kid has like the 13th birthday, and he accidentally books it as like a stripper club thing, but they like it because it's like seen as more mature or whatever. And I'm glad the baby mother dragged him for that, because that's not appropriate. What 13-year-old needs to be on a stripper pole or needs to be seeing a stripper pole? What? But honestly, if I know myself, I don't even know if I'm gonna tune in for the rest of the seasons. I might, just to like give my honest opinion about it. But it's just one of those shows that I could not stop thinking about. And then on top of that, there was like the whole like stereotyping, the whole like nanny stuff. It was just kind of annoying. And it was just like the little comments here and there that I did not enjoy. And that's the end of my reaction to the upshaws. Goodbye. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.